All right. Well, we're back. This is the TOR Res Covery uh, podcast. I'm Barry Botone with the TOR Project. And if we could go around the room, introduce ourselves.
I'm Darian Trabata, the director of TOR.
What up? It's Torres, Rezzies. My name is Domingo Whiteman. I'm from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Been around Sealand, Woodward. But I'm the TOR prevention and admin.
This is Carmelo Revelis. I'm the TOR case manager. First time podcaster.
Oh, yeah. Welcome, Carmelo.
Well, I'm glad to see all y'all made it back, and welcome, Carmelo. Would you like to read the Elder's Meditation for today, Domingo?
Sure. Well, like I said, Pivot One Nyaket. Today's meditations for Elders of the Day, November 27th. We're still in the fall of the medicine wheel of the season, and today is from Oren R. Lyons. He's a spokesman of the Traditional Circle of Elders. Says, the natural law is a spiritual law. Its powers are both light and dark. There are some characteristics that are evident to the system which the Creator made. He made balance, harmony, polarity. And in other words, every plus has a minus. Every positive has a negative. Every up has a down. Every problem has a solution. The spiritual law is the same. It has the light and dark. Both are good, so both need to be honored. Lessons can be learned on both sides.
Yes, very true. I like that. For me, it was like, whenever you're a child, you're innocent. And as you get older, my choices are what put me on the dark side, and I became so used to that whenever, things would happen to me, I have really high highs and really low lows. And it isn't until recently that I've learned that you got to try to stay right in the middle. You don't want at them big, the things that you can't handle. Probably getting my emotions under control are probably one of the greatest things that's happened to me, because I don't experience those, high highs and low lows no more, But I can definitely see, after spending so many years on the dark side, I was the type of person that had lost control. It was hard for me to do anything. It was hard for me to do the right thing, especially when nobody was looking. So I kind of understand, the part where, where everything bad, there's something good. Everything good, there's something bad, So I try to remember that every day, trying to maintain my sobriety, trying to there I go with the but, it's just something that I gotta keep in my mind all the time, is that for everything that I do today, there's probably going to be a consequence for it, whether it's good or bad. It's just something that's completely always happening in my life, is a constant reminder of how my actions today will, create a situation later on down the line. So, is there anybody else that would like to share on that?
Yeah, like keeping it balanced, and I learned from somebody, it's like, you are where you're at today is where, Maheo, God wants you to be. Don't rush it. Don't go into any more that, you can't handle. And I feel like that being that light and dark, you just keep it balanced, because you can see it, and, you can visualize the darkness and the lightness, but, you make the right choice, the right things will happen. And so I think that it teaches how, there's always going to be bad, and there's always going to be good. So when you're feeling good, doing good, if something bad happens, don't get down. Don't give up. Because like you said, learn from a good coworker, Cassandra Frazier. She said, she told me that I learned something from her, was it don't matter how much sobriety you have, how many years you could lose it easily. Oh, yeah. Anytime, anywhere. So I think that's real powerful, the light and dark.
Yeah. Thank you, Domingo.
Yeah.
Anybody else would like to share on that?
I think it's for people to have that realization, especially ones that were in the world that you were in, Barry.
Yeah.
That a lot of them don't even realize that they're actually in a dark side, and it isn't until they come to that realization that there is actually a light side or a good side that they try to find that balance. And that's what I think we're trying to promote, and that's what we're trying to do, is trying to help them find that balance. And so I think this meditation allows, it shows a lot, because without that balance, I mean, even us that haven't gone through recovery or anything like that, and we still do that every day. And I think it's really helpful to actually have that knowledge, to be able to know that, hey, yeah, we have to be able to find that balance every day, so we can continue to, try to, stay positive and know where the negative is, and continue living our lives.
Yes, thank you for sure.
Stay focused.
Yeah. I also think it's contagious too. So whether it's your experience, the dark or the light, it actually will spread to your close loved ones and everything. So like my upbringing was mostly dark with my mother's substance abuse. Like my dad was my mom's drug dealer, and that's like how I came into the world and everything. And so it was super dark for quite a while, and then it turned light once she decided to go into recovery whenever I was about 16. And then that like changed my perception on substance use and like if there's hope or not, because before it was, there's no hope. But once you see that one change and that beam of light, that's whenever you can actually start seeing how far that light goes. And so then it'll go, to the next person, and spread just like wildfire. And so that's another thing to remember, is light and dark are contagious.
Thank you. That's a good point.
Like it's quick, a movie quote. What did Bane tell Batman? He said, "I was born I was born in the dark."
Molded by it.
Yeah, molded.
You've merely adapted.
Yeah, you adopted it.
I didn't see
I
the
was
light
born
until I
in
was
it.
already a man.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Well, I like I like everything that was said here. That I enjoy these elders meditations every day. At some point during the day, I look at these meditations. And I don't know. It's just easy. Like I woke up this morning and I started looking at my AA stuff. My 24-hour, and I just enjoy like any kind of recovery. It doesn't matter what recovery. Somebody, it could be faith-based, it could be AA, NA, whatever it is. I enjoy I'm for any kind of recovery. Whatever helps a person get better, I think, that is just meant for just them, and I don't judge nobody on how they choose to recover, as long as they're healing. But thank you, Domingo, for reading that. And Darian, would you like to explain a little bit more about what we do here at TOR?
This question I always blank on, because we do a lot.
Yes.
TOR is everywhere. If you follow us on social media, you'll see that we're all over the place trying to spread the word of recovery, and then spread care for those that are not ready for recovery. So that's through our harm reduction measures. So that's providing sterile equipment to prevent overdoses, hepatitis, HIV, all that stuff, where it's kind of a controversial topic, but once people kind of understand where people are at with their substance use and how supplies is not going to determine if they're going to use or not, it's going to determine how safe they are when they use. And so, then Narcan comes into play, and that's what we're known for, I think, a lot now, is we're the Narcan dealers. And we've saved people. We've had people tell us that our Narcan has saved their brother or sister's life or a friend's life. And so we love hearing that. And then through us giving all these supplies out to people in active use, that kind of plants a seed of recovery in their mind. And so they come to us, kind of ask us for some help. We'll either sign them up with insurance, Medicaid, or whatever they want, and then refer them to a treatment center nationwide, so that way they don't have to pay a thing. And that's just us on the treatment side. For aftercare, that's where something we want to grow a little bit more. We do have our talking circles and our talk space, which is telehealth counseling for people for free to use on their phone, where they pair with a counselor, get free therapy for as long as they want. But we want to expand a little bit more on Sobriety, and so that'll be our talking circles. Hopefully, you'll see us expand westward to a Clinton office. I think that would be outstanding, so that way we can reach more community members that way. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much a little bit of what we do. We do a lot more than that, but I'm forgetting everything right now.
Yeah, would y'all like to add anything on what we do over here at TOR?
Yeah, we do. Just doing the harm reduction. We got the vending machines in the casinos. So, Clinton, Hammond, Wattonga, and Concho. So I think that's a big plus. Like we've been refilling it here right before the holidays, and that's letting us know that people are being safe and staying alive, and planting that seed in their head that recovery is possible. That because it's a hard choice for them to come up and change, because it's scary, and when it's scary, it feels like it's a big change. That's a challenge. Like, yeah, it's not easy. Everybody could do it if it was. So. But, yeah. Anybody else? Carmelo?
Also, several of our legislators have allowed us to purchase fridges, and so we have Narcan fridges at all the ERCs
uncles.
as well. Yeah. Shout out to some of our uncles and some aunties.
Auntie.
Not in the fridge yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, aunties.
I'm not taking it back. But yeah, so we're trying to make our way and just provide as much as we can, whether it's information or product. And I say product, but we mean Narcan and harm reduction. But yeah, that, and Domingo does yoga for some of our clients. We have great partnerships with a lot of different programs. So we're able to partner and do outreaches with all these other programs and departments. So that's pretty much everything, I believe.
No, we still got more.
we
Now
got
I
more.
just remembered. So Barry
Barry,
has broken into schools pretty much now to educate youth on the power of choice and how, if substance use does become a part of their life, it's not the end of the life, because we've often, as we were kids, our school programs would say, hey, don't use drugs or anything because you'll get addicted. And then they would end the presentation right there. But we're trying to change how we end that presentation. We're like, hey, there's still hope even if you do use substances. And, we are that resource for that. And it's possible. So that way, to be safe. And then as well, like if you do get a little bit dependent on a substance, you can still find help, and we'll be here for you to find you the care you need. And then also just this morning, we started breaking into HIV testing kits for people to get from us in the community, so that way they can see if they're, if they've contracted anything, whether from sharing needles or actually intimate contact. And so we have at-home self-test kits along with education for that too.
And if you need to book Barry, you can contact him at
Yeah.
Harm reduction man.
Yeah.
harm reduction
Harm reduction
Yeah,
man.
harm reduction man, harm reducing boy.
We do a lot here. We have all these partnerships. We're definitely not scared to get out into the public. I like the way how I can kind of see how I've grown, like as in like speaking. That was like a challenge for me at first. But I don't know. It's like that fear is gone now. Now I won't shut up. But I enjoy going to these schools. I try to change the language on how we address these things now. Like the overdose thing. with these substances we have out there today, it definitely needs, like, the language that's used, like OD, overdose is excessive use. With fentanyl today, you don't get to learn your lesson from that. I like the way that they call it poisoning today. And that's what, that to me, that makes way more sense to talk about it as, people just try like a grain of salt of it and they're dying, So, I like getting out into the community. I like educating people. I like just being able to be that person that somebody can relate to, because I definitely have been there, on my journey. I just remember, being addicted to heroin, and doing all these substances, that, it took me a while to, to realize that I didn't want that life no more. So I tried to lead by example more than anything today. And, I appreciate every single one of y'all. Y'all all play a big part in people's recovery. We can't forget that either, is that, you have been that person that somebody could lean on and they can just be honest with you, and no judgment going on whatsoever. So, it takes it. What I have learned though about this is that I can't consider that my recovery is by helping somebody else's recovery. And that had me thinking about, well, how do I maintain my sobriety? How do I stay in touch? Because if I don't take care of Barry, then I ain't gonna be able to take care of nobody else. So just going, Cassandra just got her year, and when we went to the meeting, it just felt good. I got to chair the meeting, and it just feels great. When I was doing the talking circle, it's the meeting format was like AA, so that really helped me out a lot, and I've been thinking about that a lot lately is, how do I maintain my sobriety by, because when, most addicts we have a lot of empathy towards other addicts or other alcoholics, and it's kind of like you kind of, when they explain something to you or tell you about their situation, you kind of feel like you want to carry that load with them. You want to take some of the pressure off of them. You want them to feel comfortable, and it can be a lot sometimes, because there's some situations that you go into and you realize that until that person's ready, that there's really nothing you can do until, they take that step. So, I see a lot of people come back from California. I see a lot of people, get back home. And, that's good. They completed a program. They're back home, and they're trying. Well, they got away from whatever it was, whatever substance they were using before. They got away from it, which is a big part of, getting sober. But then I see them struggling when they get back home because they think they're healed. They think that that's it. Okay, I'm 60 days sober. I'm 90 days sober. Okay, I'm good. Well, I know with me, I had a whole lifetime of using. Wasn't no 90-day program going to fix me. Wasn't no, here I am 2.5 years later, and I still have to do what I did in the beginning. Whenever I don't feel right, when things ain't going my way, and these really high highs and these really low lows, when I kind of lose touch with myself, I need to go to a meeting. I need to talk to my sponsor. I need to, and luckily I'm very blessed in that way, because my sponsor, man, he's a hell of a guy, and he always has time to stop whatever he's doing, and we just kind of have our little conversation, and no matter what, I always feel better. Even if we don't talk about anything that has to do with recovery, he just has that effect on me, so, but, it was him that was always getting on me about, you need to get to a meeting. Like, that was one of the things that we talked about when I took this job. Well, somebody else's recovery, you can't consider that your recovery. You have to get in there and do the work. So I feel really blessed with my sponsor. He's helped me grow in so many ways. It's crazy. So the freedom that I have today from working with my sponsor and working these steps, I want that for everybody. I remember when I got out of detox and, I had to go find a meeting. I went and found one. Maybe a week later, I found me a sponsor in California. And, I was doing all these things that they said that, because it's a program of suggestion. So I'm doing all these things that I'm supposed to do. But then once I got it all in place, I just got real complacent and I quit. I quit going to meetings. I quit working these steps. I quit. I thought just because I'm off the drugs now that I'm good. I'm healed. I'm okay. Well, life doesn't stop just because I got sober. Just because Barry finally decided to get his life together, life does not stop. And I went a whole year after I got back, and then I found me another sponsor whenever I got here. And I can only just tell you that the freedom that I have today from making those steps, making things that were so hard for me to do because it was still hard for me to be honest with myself, And I ain't gonna lie, like the best part about working them steps is this part called sex inventory. And I'm not even going to lie about how I'm so codependent that it took me working those steps to realize that's what kept me going back out. As I would get in a relationship and, I have a pattern of I'm selfish, self-centered. That always comes first. I arouse suspicion. I'm dishonest. I hurt people. I do all these different things. And then when things don't work out, I get back at them by going and getting high and drunk. And it took me working these steps to see that pattern. And and that's helped me so much to this day, that it just completely changed my whole perception on life now, because I was a type that thought that I could not live life without, whoever that,
that one.
Yeah, one.
Not a specific one.
Yeah.
Just the one of the month.
Well, and it took me working these steps to realize that. So then I realized that I cannot put my sobriety in somebody else's hands. I can't sit here and be worried about what Darian, Domingo, and Carmelo think about Barry, or else I'm going to lose touch with myself, and then I become a people pleaser. And then that's how I lose touch with myself right there, is I want to please what y'all think about me. It means more to me what you think about me than what I think about myself. And it took me just attending these meetings, working with my sponsor, and realizing that this world does not revolve around Barry, And it did take a lot for me to realize that. But, I see people, I'll be on Facebook and see people in recovery, like, just mad at the world because of what somebody else thinks about them. You know, and that bothers me because I'm like, okay, they came back home. They're definitely not attending meetings. They definitely think that they're healed because they got away from the drugs. Well, that's a big deal. It is. I'm not gonna, say that it isn't. That's a very big deal. Well, how about we start getting to the root of all these problems? Because, like I said before, I was addicted to drugs and alcohol. But at the same time, I'm also addicted to the way that I handle my problems. And so if I can't run back to drugs and alcohol, well, how am I handling these things? And that's what going to meetings, getting a sponsor, working with them, that's getting in my big book and reading, it has helped me beyond measure. Where my life is today. I mean, before these thoughts, these words were not even in my head, like it's crazy because they have big words in the big book. But, to be able to sit down and actually make sure that I'm not just sitting there reading. I'm putting this stuff to use. I'm using these terms. I'm using, all this information that was just freely given to me. Somebody just gave me a big book. And the solution that I found inside there doesn't compare to what anybody else can do for me but God. So, I hate sitting there, or not, I can't say hate. I hate sitting back.
I don't like.
I do not like. I do not like to sit there and watch people suffer after they've already gotten sober. All these codependency issues start coming out. Because I'm sober, I don't want that to be a gauge on how I'm getting into relationships now. I don't, just because I'm sober, I think that I need to go spend all this time and effort that I put into myself and make sure somebody else is getting the fruits of all my labor, like that's another thing, but that's a whole different,
Sounds a little
but
selfish, bro.
But I mean, it's just, these are the things that people in recovery deal with, I want to see everybody make it. I believe that we all deserve to make it, no matter what. What I found is people in recovery are good people. They just made bad decisions. So it just means a lot to me to see people. You don't have to do what I'm doing. Find something that works for you. Find whether it's church. Try church. If you've never tried church, try church. I've seen a lot of people get sober in there. Whether it's, I just like AA because all the meetings that you see today, Heroin's Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, all these different anonymouses, they all use the AA format, and with me, it starts with drinking. I can say no to drugs all day long. But what I thought I never had a problem with was alcohol. But every time I got drunk, I had to go get high, So with me, it starts with alcohol, But, I just want people to be able to find a way, find something that works, keep trying to heal. Yeah, you completed a program, you're home, let's go a little bit deeper. Let's put in a little bit more work. Don't get complacent. Don't get lazy. Because, just like they say, my addiction is out there waiting on me to slip up. It's just sitting there waiting. He's out there doing burpees all day long. He's getting swole, waiting on me to slip up. Because I know the day that I do, man, I might not make it back. That's just how my disease works. I got a disease that wants me dead. And so, I keep that in mind. I keep that thought in my head, like, when whenever I wake up and I don't pray when I first wake up, like my day just feels off. Like I got to wake up, ask the Creator to keep me sober just for today. And then before I go to bed, I got to thank Him for giving me another sober day. So when I don't do those two things, like, I don't know, I just feel completely like something ain't right, and I mean, these are good habits to have. These are the kind of habits that I want to have, instead of the old ones that, that we're not even going to get into, but, I mean, that's the type of mentality that I know I need to have, because, I mean, what do I have to lose? I have everything to lose today, whereas before, I was in survival mode. When you're in survival mode, you ain't learning nothing but how to get the next thing that you're surviving for. You don't learn no lessons. You're not trying to improve on anything. You're just trying to get better. You're not trying to improve. If I was out there hustling, I wanted to be a better hustler. So that meant I had to be a little bit more scandalous, or I had to, run a little bit more game, and I wasn't learning nothing. Well, today I'm not in survival mode. I'm steadily learning, and I finally did figure out what credit was, so.
Still don't got it.
Yeah, I still ain't got it. I know what it is. But it's just, I just want to, like I said, I just want to see everybody make it. I'm tired of watching people who deal with the same sickness that I have come back and still struggle. Where I found my peace was I went to a meeting. And I just think it's the things that I did in the beginning, I still do today. What helped me get sober and stay sober, I got to remember that, and so that's when I feel like I'm kind of getting out of touch with myself, or I need to get better. I mean, I go to a meeting, and it's great, walking into that clubhouse and seeing my people, and getting nothing but hugs and, handshakes and, oh, so-and-so ain't showing up. You want to go run the meeting, and it just feels great, and I've really found that being able to go back and have that feeling, and because it's very hard for a person to, when you don't realize like these people are talking a weird language, and they're saying all these things about God, and like I remember going in there and just thinking like, why did I even come here? Like, I do not belong here, But I mean, what else do I didn't have anything to lose then, because I didn't have nothing, so I didn't even care. I didn't care what nobody was doing, saying, did not matter to me. But, today, the love and respect that I have for another person is only because I love and respect myself today. So, I mean, that's been like a game changer in my mind, is hold on to that, build off of that, find something that positive. Because like the meditation said, where there's a positive, and you turn that thought around, and, my mind works without, it doesn't need permission to think negative in my head, so it's definitely been a game changer for me. And, I hope one day we all make it. Whoever's out there struggling, whoever feels like they're all alone, I mean, that's where I think going to these meetings and doing that whole sobriety thing, that's what made me want to be there, is realizing that everybody in the room has gone through basically the same thing that I have. And that's, where else you gonna find a group of crazy people besides at a meeting, But what else do we want to talk about?
Well, I like what when you were talking, that made me think. Maintaining, recovery. It's a everyday,
Oh yeah.
different dirt, but same day. Different day, same dirt. But one of my nephews, he used to be on the youth council. He's at Sippy College in Albuquerque. Shout out. But he told me something last year, because he talked about recovery and what I do and what we do, TOR. And he talked about, man, in a few years, I feel like there'll be. He always compares stuff to Star Wars, But he's like, man, in the future, I feel like there's gonna be like temples, like Jedi temples, training centers. And I thought about what you talk about, meetings when they come out and graduate and they come home. Like the meetings they gotta, that I feel like they want to attend, they need to attend. That it's there. And what my nephew said, I felt like there's gonna be training centers. There's gonna be to help maintain and stay on, maintain sobriety. So I feel like that's what you were talking there. That kind of came to my head. About, meetings. And I know my my stepfather, he talked about, it's up to you to go to the meetings and how long you're gonna go, and it's always up to you, And I feel like that's a lot of maintaining and that mindset, because that motivation, it's not always there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like discipline and maintaining it and expectations is a lot too. So,
Yeah.
Any kind of meetings, AA, couples, anything will help a lot. Talking circles. And then,
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they say, iron sharpen irons.
Right.
I remember whenever I was in California, I tried to go to all these different meetings. And I went to a codependency meeting. And that made me realize that I'm like very codependent. And it was crazy because I didn't want nobody else to know that I went to this meeting.
Oh.
But when I left there, like I felt like I was aware of what I was doing. It didn't stop me at the time, but I was aware of what I was doing, and I kind of seen the beginning of the end, of the situation that I was in. So it definitely, I think about what I was doing in my addiction. I would walk all over town for $40. Oh, you got $40? Okay, I'm on my way. I'd be down like in Fair Edition and walk all the way behind Montana Mike's for $40, 3:00 in the morning. Get a phone call. Oh, you on Stone Glen? I'd be behind. You know what I mean? Yeah, give me like an hour. I'm walking right now. And it was like I'm willing to do all that for my addiction. And for me to use the excuse like, oh, I'm tired, I don't have time, or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like none of that makes sense once I sit here and think about it. Like man, you could have made that meeting, or you need to be there. It's just crazy, that I can still to this day I can make excuses. And I shouldn't, because that program saved my life. That's how I feel about it, is that working them steps have saved my life, because it just made me aware of my pattern of how I'm doing things. And now I finally get to step back and realize that, I was the root of all that, my decisions were the root of every problem that I had in my life. And my only solution was to get high and drunk. So I like you were saying, iron sharpen irons, and I can go somewhere else and talk about recovery. But if you was a addict and alcoholic like me, I don't know how much a person can really relate to seeing the world as I did at that time. So I definitely appreciate that. I mean, I wish we had more meetings like that here in El Reno, or Concho, but I'm willing to work with whatever's here. And I've been going to that clubhouse since I was like 4 or 5 years old with my dad. So I mean, who would have known that place would have saved my life too, So I enjoy going to the meetings. I feel like natives should fill up the room over there. There might just be 1 or 2. Sometimes you might have 4 or 5. I feel like we could fill up that whole room. And especially like when somebody comes back from California, I'll hit them up like, hey, you want to hit a meeting? Do you, just trying to get a feel for where they're at in their recovery. And they're like, when I hear nothing but excuses and, it lets me know, oh, they think they're healed. So good luck, tell me how that works out for you. Maybe it has worked for some, but I know that the numbers don't favor us. Whenever we have that type of attitude and we're not ready to put things into action. That I guess that's the biggest thing is, even though you get home or even though you have sobered up, that's good. That's a big part of it. But let's get to the root of why these things came about. How did, and it wasn't until, I could blame all these different people for all these different years as to why I was in the situation I was. But when you're dealing with people that have the same sickness as you, how can you really say, oh, that's their fault? They have the same sickness you do, and it was just working a program that helped me realize that, so I'm very blessed today. I'm very thankful that, coming from a family of alcoholics and drug addicts, me and my brother we was just talking about that the other day, about how he's the oldest male in my family. He's only 47 years old. He's the oldest male in my family, because all my uncles, my aunt, all of them are gone, because of drugs and alcohol. And that's crazy to me, because I'm talking to him like, asking him if he wants to go to a meeting or, asking him, like kind of getting on to him, but then still kind of like, teasing him. And, it's like, how can I feel like I feel guilty because he's struggling. You know what I mean? And here I am, I don't feel like I rub it in his face, but, I try to say something positive that he'll hold on to. But then, we're brothers, I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something that he isn't going to like, and then, but at the same time, I kind of am glad that I can be, somebody that wants better for him. As before, I looked up to him, he kept going to prison, he kept, and I would pray for him, I would, but here I am following right behind him doing the same exact thing he's doing, so now that my life has gotten a little bit better. You know, that's exactly what I want for him. You know, I pray for him every day that, you know, I don't want to be the oldest male in my family. You know what I mean? That's like the last thing that I want is for me to be in that position where, you know, he puts himself in a position where he's not going to be here anymore. You know, and that scares me. You know, I love my brother. I mean, he's really my first cousin, but, you know, we were raised like brothers, you know, so it's just kind of like, you know, if I made him do anything, I don't think none of it would stick. You know, say, oh, you can't stay here unless you go to a meeting. You know, that I'd probably never even see him again, you know. And it's just finding these different ways to help a person realize, like, you know, I tell them all the time, you know, like, you don't even have to be a part of that life, but you're choosing to go back out that door and go and, like, be in that world again. Like, and I don't even understand why, you know, like, what are you getting out of it? You know, like, why even put yourself through any of that? And then, you know, it's like he could care less about what you know, I'm just griping at him, you know, I probably make him feel that big sometimes, you know, but that's just how upset I get with him because I just want him to have the life that I have, you know, but I can't force him to do anything. I can't make him do anything, you know. All I can really do is just lead by example, you know, and just give him that option that when he is ready to turn his life over, I'm going to be right there. And ain't nobody going to be cheering him on more than me, you know. So, you know, I'm praying that day comes very, very soon, you know. And is there anything anybody else would like to?
No, I think you bring up a huge point about you can't force recovery, because we see that a lot where parents or, you know, relatives will call us to send somebody to treatment for them, and that's actually one of the worst things you can do because you're then forcing them into withdrawals. Then they're already thinking about relapsing, most likely. And so that puts them at a very, very high risk of ODing or anything like that. And so you bringing it up that you can't force it is huge because you just have to be patient because it's their recovery. It's on their time. It's not anybody else's decision. It's if they want to and if they're going to stick to it. That's what makes the huge change is it being voluntary. And so that's kind of like my thing with, you know, court mandated recovery or treatment isn't always the best option. Like it does work sometimes, but usually they just kind of jump through the hoops and then go back to that life because they never really wanted to change. And so hopefully the people that are listening kind of get on board with the idea that it is their journey, it is on their time. Don't, you know, enable or anything, set boundaries, but don't force recovery for that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the conversations I've had, like probably within like the last 4 weeks with people that have reached out, is like they want to be a normal person again. And to them, like being in recovery isn't normal. And I'm like, you can't be any more normal. And I'm like, and in order to establish that, you know, it's just part of your life again, like you have to be around people that are in the same area. And that's why the first thing I always ask them, well, have you been to any meetings? And they're like, no, I haven't been in like 6 months. And I'm like, well, that's where all your normal people are. You know, all the people that have gone through the same stuff that you're going through, all the people that have the same kind of experiences. Everybody thinks they have all these unique experiences and they're unique to you. But I guarantee you there's people out there that have experienced the same stuff. Mm-hmm. And they can tell you their experiences and how they got through it. And it makes you a stronger person because you're learning from them. And it goes right back to our meditation today is there's always negative, there's always positive. So But yeah, that was a conversation I had with somebody, and I was like, you have to realize that recovery is normal. Recovery isn't some unique thing. Recovery is just a different lifestyle. Just like somebody exercising every day is a lifestyle. Somebody overeating every day is a lifestyle. Somebody talking too much is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's just the way, it's just a lifestyle for people. It's not normal. It's just it's a normal way of life, and it's just you came to that realization. You found that balance. You found that where you're positive, where you're trying to go towards, and you realize that you were in a negative, you were in a dark side, and now you found your balance, and so now you're getting to live what your normal life is now. And that's a realization that a lot of people don't have, and I think that's what we try to promote. And what we try to do is, through your story, through Cassandra's story, through our stories and everything that we've been through, we try to help people understand that. And for them to be able to maintain and be able to understand, like, this isn't something, it's like you said, it's a daily thing. I wake up in the morning, I pray, make sure that I get through that day. And it's a lifestyle change, but it's a lifestyle that's not normal. It is normal, and there's just this bias and this thing around it that you think that something is wrong with the people that are in recovery, and there's nothing wrong with them. They're just normal people.
Yeah, for sure.
That have made mistakes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I guess, all these stigmas. All these stigmas around recovery. And we could go. That's like a whole.
That's next podcast.
Yeah, definitely stigmas. But with me, it was like whatever it takes. Like I'm tired of doing things my way. My way, I'll go stay under a bridge. That's my best thinking. Go stay under a bridge so nobody knows you're drunk and high. I ain't even got to live under there. I got somewhere to live. But that's my best thinking. That's where my best thinking puts me. So my thing was, okay, we tried it my way. Things got real ugly, real fast. So let's try this way that does work. I see these people at these meetings. They're all happy. They're telling me they love me. Don't even know me. You know what I mean? Like telling me they love me, and that just made me realize, that my family did love me for all these years, loved me through thick and thin until I was ready to figure out how to love myself. So that was like a very big part of, and even when you get, you do the PRSS training, they find that the connection that you have, that's part of the reason why I ended up in the places that I did. I'm more than willing to disconnect all these different connections that I have from people that love me because it makes me feel guilty. You know what I mean? Like, it makes me feel bad. I get to see what kind of person I am when I see my mom and I'm high. Like, it just makes me feel like nothing. You know what I mean? Like damn, you feel like the biggest disappointment ever, But, it's just, luckily I can use these things that I have been through and that, hopefully somebody does get something from what we've talked about here today, because it's definitely a struggle. It's definitely not easy figuring out that I'm self-centered, figuring out that this world does not revolve around me, and accepting the fact that, like, what's normal? You know what I mean? Like, what my normal is... My world, like, it's not even, let's not even get into what my normal is, because, what is normal? But, you know, luckily I am able to, I like to say recover out loud. You know, I want the whole world to know I'm in recovery. You know, I want the whole world to know that, you know, I did find a solution, you know, and it wasn't, you know, it was probably, you know, because I prayed for this solution. I was willing to put in the work to figure out this solution. And I found something that works, you know, and I'm just trying to give it to the next person. Instead of me just holding on to this and just, oh, it's, you know, I'm willing to reach back and give it to the next person behind me. You know, so you know, whoever's out there listening, whoever feels like, you know, that there's no hope, you know, I promise you, if I can do it, anybody can do this thing. You know, and that's like the biggest thing that I gotta recover out loud. You know, I can't just sit back and watch my people suffer anymore. You know, that you know, I'm not willing to accept that anymore. You know, that's not my life anymore, and I don't want to see one more of my people go through what I did. And I could, if there's anything that I could do, you know, it's definitely, you know, to help them realize that there is a way out. And I just want to see everybody make it.
Amen.
Gooder.
Is there anything else that anybody wants to add on to that?
I think, you know, maintaining, and my num shum used to always say, you know, you got them little eyes watching you. And I feel like, you know, that's a big part of it too, is maintaining. You got somebody always looking up to you, and, you know, nephew, you know, your own, you know, son or daughter. But I think it's just that's one of the biggest things too, is when you maintain, you're showing that what you're doing, because how we learn and what we seen, you know. Like I seen my cousin OD in front of me, you know, that scared me from staying away from drugs, you know. So that's kind of, I feel like them eyeballs are watching, and they know, they listen, they watching.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it, you know, staying maintained, because you know, fix yourself, you know, pray to Mahel, you know, take care of yourself, and then the others, you know, everything else will follow through.
For sure.
That's what I wanted to add.
Thank you, Domingo. You know, you know, I don't know why I just felt like I had to say this. But, you know, I've been thinking about the lifestyle that I used to live and the places that I came from, you know, all the crazy people that I used to hang around with. You know, and everybody was like in this street mentality. Everybody, you know, was part of gangs, or, you know, everybody was, you know, just living that life. And when I think about it today, I can sit here and honestly say that the most gangster thing I've ever done in my life was get sober for my family. You know, the easy part is running. The easy part is getting high, getting drunk. You know, the easy part is playing the victim. You know, the easy part is not willing to stand up to these things that keep me going out. You know, that's what's easy. You know, I know some people look at me and, you know, they think that, oh, you think you're better than everybody. Oh, you know, or Barry acts shady, or, you know, he don't want nothing to do with this no more. Nah, it isn't that at all. It's just the fact that that's how I have to live my life today to maintain my sobriety. I can't have, you know, Joe Schmo just, you know, just doing what he does, you know, because he's trying to survive, you know. I'm trying to learn. I've learned from my experiences. I've, even after I got sober before and I was around that lifestyle, it just was taking me right back out, you know. So now that I feel like don't feel like I've got a hold of this thing. I just feel like I'm aware of what's going on around me and people, places, and things. You know, I had to let go of those things. You know, and instead of being gangster for the streets, you know, I'm gangster for my family now. You know, what, you know, just sitting here, I keep looking at that. That's my granddaughter's name, Alani. You know, and that's what keeps coming to mind. You know, every time we get on these podcasts, every time we talk about recovery, she's like in the back of my mind, and I realize, you know, that luckily, you know, she's never seen a grandpa that's ever been, you know, high or drunk. And that's how I want her life to be. You know, I don't want her to experience those things that my kids had to go through. So, thank you, everybody, for showing up to work.
I'm still full from that turkey.
I was going to take the day off, you know, but I want to do the podcast rather than getting new eyes. So.
Reschedule some things.
Shout out to OU Medical.
Yeah, it's just an eye. So.
Yeah.
Just an eye.
Still ain't going to work, but whatever. You know.
It's not even going to do anything for you. So.
A different color.
Yeah.
Get it metallic.
But want to give a shout out to Cheyenne Arapaho Television. You know, they're a big part of, you know, being able to come out here and do this. You know, we really appreciate y'all. So I guess with that, we'll close up.
Yep.
Mm.